So this is the site that I use to find my stencils. They come in packages, individual, whatever floats your boat. It's called designbundles.net. I'm linking to it below in the description for you. And here's where I just go in and start typing in some keywords. I decided to try to find a plaid kind of design since I don't have any plaid stencils. So I'm scrolling through here and there's a whole bunch of options, but I always, of course, am looking for the deal, even though stuff is relatively cheap as it is when it's not on sale. But here is a cute stencil and it comes in all different cut files. When you are cutting on your Cricut, you want the SVG file. So whatever stencil you are downloading or whatever file you're downloading, make sure it's SVG. And so I'm going to go ahead and purchase this one. It gives you a bunch thick lines, thin lines, whatever. I'm going to buy this one for $1.50 for this stencil for reals, right? And it comes in they send you JPEGs, all kinds of different files, but I'm going to be making sure that I download the SVG. And there's some other stencils that you've seen that I've bought in the past there. So seriously, this is like the best deal ever because stencils themselves are at least $6 a pop plus shipping, etc. So here you can, I'm getting this design for $1.50. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the SVG one and the design that I like, whether it's thick line, thin line. I tend to go with thick line because it's, easier to cut. You don't want things too delicate or too intricate because it'll be hard to cut and it will be hard to kind of peel apart, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and open the Design Studio for Cricut, and then I'm going to upload the pattern. I just drug it to my desktop so I was able to easily find it. So I'll upload the pattern. Here's where you want to give it a name and add your keywords. Make sure you don't skip this step because this is the only opportunity that you will have to enter keywords for your item that you're uploading. And once you're satisfied, go ahead and click Save, and it's going to show up in recently uploaded images, but you can also search for things by keywords. And then you just upload it to your design space, and here's where you resize it. You can print it super big, super small, whatever you fancy, whatever floats your boat. I'm going to do a 6x6 stencil just for the sake of time. Now, when you're cutting these stencils, it is going to take some time. I don't sit there and watch it cut. It's like sitting there watching paint dry, but it is going to take some time, so keep that in mind. I just go off and do other stuff while it's printing. So you can resize it, like I said, any size that you want. You can get the stencil paper that I'm using. I'll be sure to link to the exact one I'm using down in the description below for you. It's just basically like a very thick kind of acetate, if you will. And I usually get 12 by 12 sheets. You can get a half by 11, whatever. There's lots of room to customize it however you want. So once I go ahead and get my stencil sized, I'm ready to cut it. I'm going to make sure that I load my stencil paper, which is that clear paper there, onto my green mat, and I put it into my Cricut, and it just starts cutting. Just starts cutting. And while the Cricut is cutting, your screen is showing you the progress of the cut. So while my stencil is cutting, I want to tell you that today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. You guys know how much I love Skillshare. It's a great online platform and community with tons and tons and tons and tons of categories. Currently, I'm learning a couple of cooking recipes. I did some sewing. There's a whole bunch on there, so I encourage you to check it out. The first 1,000 people to click on my custom link below in the description will get 3 months of it for free. Check it out. See if it's your jam. I think you're going to love it. And thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring today's video. So I did a time lapse of my stencil being cut, and here's a look at it when it's done. I just trimmed down the stencil paper, and I've got this beautiful plaid background. It is just that easy. Super easy way to create your own stencils at home and cut them with your cutting machine. I'm using the Cricut. So everything is linked below for you. The resources, where I found everything. Be sure to click on Skillshare and get 3 months of that for free if you haven't already. And next week is part 2 of this video, and we're going to talk about how to use the stencils. Easy peasy pumpkin squeezy. It's so awesome. So as my daughter would say, be amazingly amazing, and I will see you next week.